A true film legend has passed, and I want to talk about it. What is going on, everybody? Tom Chattelbash here, and if you love movies and TV like I do, then rest assured you're in the right place. And today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This is a video that I want to make because there's a lot I want to get off my chest, because it was recently announced that actor and director Rob Reiner has passed away, and under some really horrible circumstances that I'm not going to go into in this video. Now, this news has affected me deeply because Rob Reiner is a talent that I have loved for decades, someone whose films I grew up watching and adoring. In a lot of ways, his films provided a film education for me growing up and showed me so many different kinds of movies that I hadn't been introduced to yet, and ignited even more of a love for film because of the movies he was making and for some of his amazing performances as well. I mean, very few directors have had a 5-film run like he did, with Stand By Me, Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, and A Few Good Men. I mean, that is an unprecedented run of top-notch filmmaking. So today I just wanted to share my love for him and my love for his films and how they've shaped me not only as a film critic and a lover of film, but just as a person, because I think in a lot of ways his movies have helped form the personality that I'm proud to sport these days. And, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that. Now, growing up, the movie that started my love for film was Back to the Future, but there were so many movies that became essentially my film education, the movies that I would watch endlessly and just dissect and just love more and more with each viewing. And one of those movies was The Princess Bride, a movie that I think is not only amazing for the whole family, but it's just filled with such wonderful performances, such tender writing, and just such assured, confident direction from Reiner, who just had this incredible balance of tone and handle on that tone. It's a movie that is timeless, classic, just endlessly endearing, and it's a movie that has some of the best replay value any movie could ever hope to have. I mean, something I've always felt is that I feel like films, especially if you're someone who grew up watching a lot of them, they help form your personality and who you are in a lot of ways. And I don't think it's, grandiose to say something like that, or out of pocket to say something like that, because I feel like the films that I watched growing up really helped inform my personality, who I am, and Princess Bride was instrumental in that because it really kind of cemented the kind of goofy, silly humor that I love and the kind of humor that I kind of dole out these days, and is such a kind of key and quintessential part of my personality, but also just how I viewed romance. I always considered myself a hopeless romantic, and this movie has so much hopeless romanticism in it that's just so endearing and fun and tender and just so endlessly just accessible. But The Princess Bride isn't the only Reiner film that was a part of that film education. There was also When Harry Met Sally, a movie that made me fall in love with rom-coms, because I had seen so many cheesy, just poorly done rom-coms that were just eye-roll inducing, that it just made me not really like the genre all that much. And then I saw When Harry Met Sally, and I saw what the genre is capable of when it's in the right hands. I mean, you have two of the most iconic rom-com performances ever with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan, that amazing fall setting, and just the writing here is just so unbelievably good. It's mature, it is tender, it is heartwarming, it is funny and sharp, and it really has stood the test of time. It's a movie that I feel like was ahead of its time in a lot of ways, and I think most rom-coms just wish they could have the staying power and the relatability that that movie still somehow possesses. And Reiner, again, his handle on tone and the way he's able to get such good performances out of his actors. I mean, that movie is such a special one for me because that helped form that romantic side of myself. So you have Princess Bride, which helped form my sense of humor, and then you have When Harry Met Sally, which helped form that romantic side of me, that, hopeless romantic side of me. So he's already, been a part of the building blocks of my personality just from these two films alone. And then you've got a film like A Few Good Men, a movie that made me fall in love with the courtroom drama, because that was like the first big one that I had seen growing up. I mean, talk about a movie filled with an incredible cast of actors, Jack Nicholson, Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon. I mean, the list goes on. It has some of the most iconic writing in all of cinema. And Reiner is directing this gargantuan courtroom drama that in another director's hands could have been an absolute mess. And he's handling it with such effortless ease and getting some of the best performances of all time out of his actors. And Reiner takes Aaron Sorkin's incredible script and he doesn't let it down. I mean, he's getting, like I said, great performances out of his actors. He's delivering thoughtful, meticulous storytelling on a big scale. I mean, this was in the 90s where courtroom dramas were, almost a dime a dozen. They were all over the place, but this one just kind of blew them all out of the water. And what I love about this movie is that it really kind of helped form the more analytical and thoughtful side of myself. There's that tried and true lesson of, don't judge a book by its cover. And a lot of this movie is kind of conveying that message, but obviously in a more thoughtful, more articulate way. But there are so many characters in this movie that make these short, harsh judgments about people and about certain things where they're so incredibly wrong by the time those credits roll, where it was a sobering film for me, where I have absolutely been that person who has judged someone or something very quickly, way before I had a chance to really give that person or those things a chance to become something else or to surprise me. And that's something that I carried into adulthood, where I wasn't that person who was quick to judge people or quick to make certain conclusions because I wanted all the facts. I wanted to give those things time to breathe. And that was a huge lesson, especially when it comes to me cultivating new relationships, whether they be platonic or romantic, where it's letting people show you who they really are. And that's something that I feel like this movie really delves into wonderfully. So again, another building block of my personality given to me by Rob Reiner. And then there's a film like This Is Spinal Tap. Again, another silly comedy, but another comedy that also allowed me to unlock the weird part of myself, where I feel like a lot of people out there, we're all kind of weird. Especially when we're behind closed doors and or we're around people we're really comfortable with, we have no problem being weird. And there was something so great about watching that movie and seeing these men be so silly, say such silly things, and just be so unapologetically themselves, where Reiner's not only giving a terrific performance himself in the film, but the way he's able to just let these amazing comedic actors shine and let them be silly and just let them be unapologetically silly, and it just suits their character so perfectly. But this was a movie that reminded me, it's okay to be weird. It's okay to be authentically yourself. I feel like for such a long period in my life, I felt like I was trying to be a version of myself that I thought other people wanted to see, and instead of just being myself and never really feeling comfortable with that. But it was a film like This Is Spinal Tap, and even a film like The Princess Bride that just kind of reminded me, be weird, be authentically you. And if someone doesn't like you for who you really are and thinks that you're too weird for them, that's their loss, because there are other people out there who are gonna match your weird, and it's just gonna make you feel even more at home and even more comfortable. And that's a wonderful thing. So again, another building block, allowing me to be my weird, authentic self that I'm proud to be to this day. And these are just a handful of films that I feel like Reiner has made that have not only stood the test of time, but have had an immense impact on me as a person, and not just as a film fan, because these are obviously great films in my mind, but they mean so much to me. They have such a special place in my heart. And it's why when I think about him passing, it makes me so sad, because I feel like he still had so much left to give, not only as a storyteller, but as an actor as well, because he was one of the funniest people to grace the silver screen, pure and simple. So with the news of this passing, I really just wanted to get this stuff off my chest, and because it's not just losing an immense talent, behind the camera and in front of it, but for me, it's like losing a teacher, someone whose lessons I have valued so tremendously, and who I'm going to miss dearly. And it's a shame that he's gone. It bums me out beyond belief. It's really hard to even attempt to put into words, but I hope I did an okay job in this video, so that's about it. But let me know in the comments, what are some of your favorite Rob Reiner films? Has this loss affected you the same way it has affected me, especially if you're a big film fan like myself? But let me know, what are some of your favorite Rob Reiner films or performances? I really want to know. Let's celebrate this man. He deserves it. So yeah, that's all I have to say, and I appreciate it if you actually watched all the way to the end here. It means more than you know, and yeah, we lost someone special. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. And with that being said, until next time, everybody, I'm Tom Chattelbash, YouTube's most reliable movie critic.